The first person who laughed was a teenager on a bike. "Nice dance, Grandpa," he shouted across the park. A few other boys laughed too, their voices bouncing off the quiet morning air. Daniel Reed did not answer. He stood under the tall maple trees in the public park, moving slowly through his Tai Chi routine. His hands floated forward, then down. His breathing stayed calm, though his chest tightened for a second. He was only 38, but the gray at his temples, the deep tiredness under his eyes, and the careful way he moved made him look older. Life had done that to him. Every morning at 6, before work, Daniel came to the park for 20 minutes of Tai Chi. He had started it 2 years earlier, after his wife Emily died from a sudden illness. Back then, grief had crushed his sleep, his appetite, and almost his spirit. Tai Chi was the only thing that slowed the storm inside him. It helped his back pain, the pain he got from long warehouse shifts and years of lifting more than he should have. Most of all, it helped him stay steady for his children. He was raising 2 kids alone, 12-year-old Lily and 7-year-old Ben. Lily had become too mature too quickly. She reminded Ben about homework, helped with laundry, and sometimes looked at her father with the quiet concern of an adult. Ben was still soft-hearted and energetic, the kind of child who asked questions at bedtime, just to keep the room warm with conversation. Daniel lived with them in a small rented duplex at the edge of town. Money was always short. Time was even shorter. Between packing lunches, helping with school projects, paying bills, cleaning, and working full-time at a shipping warehouse, Daniel felt like he was always one small problem away from falling apart. Still, every morning, he came to the park. That was where the trouble began. The teenage boy who had called him Grandpa was named Tyler. He looked about 16, maybe 17, with a loud voice and the kind of confidence that usually came from never being told no. He was often there with 2 friends, skating near the basketball court, throwing wrappers on the ground, laughing at people as if kindness was something embarrassing. At first, Daniel ignored them, but Tyler did not like being ignored. The next morning, when Daniel stood in the park again, Tyler and his friends rode closer. "There he is," Tyler said. "Kung Fu, Grandpa." "It's Tai Chi," Daniel replied quietly, without anger. Tyler smirked. "Looks like slow motion falling." His friends laughed. Daniel kept his eyes steady. "Have a good morning, boys." Tyler seemed disappointed that he got no reaction. When Daniel got home, Lily was making toast while Ben searched for one missing sock. "Dad, did you stretch today?" Lily asked. Daniel smiled faintly. "I did good," she said. "You're less grumpy when you do your old man exercises." Ben laughed. "Can I do them too?" "Of course," Daniel said. But after school, those tiny moments kept him going. At breakfast, Lily mentioned that she needed money for a school science project. Ben needed new sneakers because the sole of one shoe was peeling off. Daniel did quick math in his head, while pretending not to. "Let me see what I can do," he said. That same day at work, his supervisor announced reduced overtime for the month. Daniel felt his stomach drop. Overtime had been how he filled the gap: school expenses, medicine, rent increases, surprise costs. Without it, every dollar would matter even more. That evening, when the children were asleep, Daniel sat alone at the kitchen table with a notebook full of numbers: rent, electricity, groceries, school supplies, Ben's shoes, Lily's project. He crossed things out, moved things around, and rubbed his forehead. On the page, nothing balanced. The next morning, he went to the park anyway. Tai Chi was the only place where his fear became quiet enough to think. He had just begun when he heard Tyler again. "Show us the crane move, Grandpa." Daniel kept going. Then Tyler stepped closer. Too close. "Why do you even do this stuff?" he asked. Daniel turned slowly. "Because it helps me stay calm." Tyler laughed. "You need help looking less ridiculous." Daniel could have snapped. He could have shouted. He could have told the boy that some people were carrying more pain before sunrise than others carried in a year. Instead, he only said, "Everybody is fighting something you can't see." For the first time, Tyler's smile faded a little, but only for a moment. As Daniel left the park, Tyler called after him, "See you tomorrow, Grandpa." Daniel walked home with tired shoulders. He did not know then that the boy's words were only the beginning, and he had no idea that Tyler was about to make a mistake that would change all of their lives. 3 days later, Daniel's life became heavier. Ben's school called in the middle of Daniel's shift. His son had fallen during recess while chasing a ball and hurt his wrist. It wasn't broken, but the clinic bill still costs more than Daniel could comfortably pay. Daniel sat beside Ben at urgent care, gently holding his good hand while Ben tried to be brave. "Did I make things harder?" Ben whispered. Daniel's heart broke at the question. "No, buddy," he said immediately. "You never make things harder. You're my son. Taking care of you is my job." Ben nodded, but Daniel could see the worry in his eyes. Children noticed more than adults thought. That night, Lily found her father sitting in the dark living room after the kids were supposed to be asleep. "You're thinking too loud," she said softly from the hallway. Daniel looked up. "Was I?" She walked over and sat beside him. "About money." He hated that she knew. "A little," he admitted. Lily lowered her voice. "I can skip the science project." "No," Daniel said firmly. You've worked hard on it. It's okay. It's not your job to shrink your life because things are tight, he told her. She looked down at her hands. Sometimes I miss Mom extra when you look this tired. Daniel swallowed hard. So do I, he said. For a few seconds, they just sat there, carrying the same loss in different-sized hearts. The next morning, Daniel returned to the park. He almost didn't. He was exhausted, behind on bills, and emotionally worn thin. But he knew if he skipped Tai Chi, the day would sit on his chest like a stone. The park was cooler than usual, and mostly empty. Daniel began his routine near the pond a few minutes later. Tyler and his friends appeared again. Grandpa's back, one of them said. Tyler pulled out his phone. Let's get this on video. Daniel stopped moving. Please don't, he said. Tyler grinned. Why, you might go viral. Daniel's voice stayed calm, but there was pain in it now. I'm asking you respectfully instead of stopping. Tyler started filming. He circled Daniel with the phone, mocking the slow hand movements, laughing, speaking in a fake weak voice. His friends joined in. Daniel stepped back. Enough, that should have been the end of it. But Tyler made the fatal mistake. He looked down and spotted the worn backpack Daniel had placed on the bench nearbeneath the one that held his lunch, his old wallet, and, most importantly, the envelope containing most of the cash Daniel had withdrawn. That morning for rent, Daniel had taken the money out early so he could pay his landlord after work. Tyler grabbed the backpack. Maybe there's a ninja robe in here, he joked. Daniel's face changed instantly. Put it down. Tyler laughed and took 2 steps back. I mean it, Daniel said, moving toward him. That's not yours. Maybe Tyler thought it was just a game. Maybe he had spent too much time getting laughs from other people's discomfort. Maybe he had never learned the line between teasing and cruelty. He swung the bag once. Careless and stupid. The zipper opened. The envelope slipped out and fell near the pond, before Daniel could reach it. A gust of wind pushed several bills into the water. Daniel shouted. He ran forward faster than his sore back liked, dropping to one knee by the edge. Tyler froze. His friends stopped laughing. Daniel grabbed what he could, but some of the money drifted farther out. A woman walking her dog rushed over and used the leash handle to hook part of the envelope back toward shore. Daniel caught it with shaking hands. Several bills were soaked, some were gone. Tyler stared, pale now. I didn't know that was my rent money, Daniel said, his voice raw. The woman looked sharply at Tyler. What is wrong with you? Daniel stood up slowly, clutching the wet envelope. He looked less angry than hurt, and somehow that made the moment heavier. I asked you to stop, he said. Tyler opened his mouth, but could not find words. Daniel picked up the backpack and walked away. He got through work like a man moving underwater. When he checked the money later, he realized he was short, far short enough to matter. That evening, his landlord called. Rent was already due. Can I have 2 more days? Daniel asked. A pause. You've been reliable, the landlord said. 2 days. That's all I can give. Daniel thanked him and hung up. At dinner, he pretended everything was normal. Ben talked about a book from school. Lily described her project model. Daniel nodded and smiled in the right places, but he could not taste his food. Later that night, after both children were asleep, he went into the bathroom, closed the door, and finally let himself break. Not loudly, just enough. His hands pressed against the sink. His shoulders shook. He cried for the money, for the pressure, for Emily, for the impossible task of always being strong. Then there was a soft knock. Dad, Lily's voice. Daniel wiped his face quickly, opened the door, and found both children standing there in pajamas. Ben held his small piggy bank against his chest. You can have this, Ben said. For rent. Lily held out a folded envelope. I've been saving birthday money. Take it. Daniel stared at them, and for a moment he could not speak. This was the most emotional moment of his life, not because he felt like he had failed, but because even in their own fear, his children were trying to protect him. He knelt down and pulled them both close. No, he whispered, tears returning. You keep your savings. But you need help, Lily said, crying now to Daniel hugged them tighter. I do, but your job is to be kids. My job is to keep going. The 3 of them stayed there on the hallway floor, holding each other in silence. And for the first time in years, Daniel did not know how he was going to fix everything. Daniel did not go to the park the next morning. He sat at the kitchen table before sunrise, staring at the envelope of damaged money and a list of possible people he might borrow from. There were not many names. He hated asking for help, but raising children alone had taught him something difficult. Pride could not feed a family. Before he could make a call, there was a knock at the door. Daniel opened it and found Tyler standing outside. Alone, no bike, no friends, no smirk. Just a nervous boy holding his phone in one hand and a crumpled cap in the other. What are you doing here? Daniel asked. Tyler looked sick with shame. I got your address from the lady at the park. She only gave it to me after I told her why. Daniel said nothing. Tyler swallowed. I came to say I'm sorry. Silence. It was supposed to be a joke, Tyler said, voice shaking. I know that doesn't matter now. I messed up bad. Daniel's face stayed guarded. Yes, you did. Tyler nodded quickly, eyes wet. When you left yesterday, I went home. My mom asked what happened because I looked weird. I told her, all of it. He looked down. She made me watch the video I took. I sounded awful. His voice cracked. She said if my father were still alive, he'd be ashamed of me. Daniel's expression shifted slightly. Tyler went on. My dad died 3 years ago. Since then, I've been, I don't know, angry, I guess. Stupid. I joke around, act tough, make people laugh. I didn't think about what it does to people. Daniel listened, but he did not soften yet. Why are you here? He asked again. Tyler held out an envelope. My mom made me use my savings. I added the money I earned from working at my uncle's shop. It's not all of it, but it's most of what was lost. Daniel looked at the envelope but didn't take it. There's more, Tyler said. He unlocked his phone with shaky fingers. I posted the video last night, but only for a few minutes. Some people saw it before I deleted it. I made another video this morning. He turned the screen around. In the video, Tyler looked directly into the camera and said, I publicly mocked a man in the park and disrespected something he used for peace. I crossed the line and damaged his property, causing him real harm. What I did was cruel. I'm apologizing, and I'm asking anyone who shares this to know that bullying is not funny. Daniel blinked slowly. I also told the school principal, Tyler added. I'll take whatever punishment I get. At that moment, Lily appeared in the hallway, then Ben behind her. Daniel looked back at Tyler. The boy seemed smaller now, not because he was weak, but because he had put down the fake strength that comes from cruelty. Daniel finally took the envelope. Thank you for coming, he said. But an apology only matters if your behavior changes. Tyler nodded. It'll. Ben, still half hidden behind Lily, whispered, Are you the mean kid? Tyler closed his eyes for a second. Yeah, he said quietly. I was. Looked at him for a moment, then said, You should stop doing that. A tiny, sad smile appeared on Tyler's face. I know. After Tyler left, Daniel opened the envelope. It covered enough. Not everything, but enough to save the rent and breathe again. 2 days later, Daniel returned to the park. He did his Tai Chi near the pond as the sun rose softly over the water a few minutes in. He noticed someone standing at a respectful distance. Tyler. He waited until Daniel finished. I just came to watch, Tyler said. If that's okay. Daniel studied him. Why? Tyler shrugged awkwardly. Because I think I need something calmer in my life. Daniel looked at him for a long moment, then nodded toward the grass nearby. Take off your shoes if you want to try. Tyler looked surprised. Really? And so, under the same trees where the mocking had started, something different began. Daniel showed him the first movement. How to stand, how to breathe, how to slow down. Tyler felt foolish at first, but not because anyone was laughing. He felt foolish because he had spent so much time making noise that silence now felt hard. Week by week he kept showing up. Lily noticed first. The park kid, she asked one evening. Is he learning? Daniel replied. Ben grinned. From Grandpa Tai Chi. Daniel laughed for the first time in days. Very funny. Life did not suddenly become perfect. Bills still came. Daniel still worked hard. He still missed Emily, especially on school event days and quiet Sunday afternoons. There were still lunches to pack, uniforms to wash, fears to carry, and moments when the loneliness of single parenthood felt endless. But something important had changed. Daniel stopped believing that strength meant handling everything alone. He accepted help from a neighbor who offered hand-me-down sneakers for Ben. Lily's science teacher quietly covered the remaining project fee, and Daniel, slowly, allowed himself to be part of a community instead of a man silently drowning inside one. Months later, at the school Family Wellness Day, Daniel was invited to lead a short Tai Chi demonstration for parents and students. He almost said no. Then Lily squeezed his hand. You should do it, Ben added. Show them the grandpa dance. Daniel rolled his eyes and smiled. When he stood on the school lawn and began the slow, deliberate movements, he saw Tyler off to the side helping set up chairs. Their eyes met briefly. Tyler gave a small nod full of respect. Daniel nodded back. Not long ago, that same boy had laughed at him. Now he was one of the first people clapping when the demonstration ended. As Daniel looked at his children, Lily smiling proudly, Ben waving both arms in the air, he felt something he had not felt in a long time. Not relief, not victory. Peace. Real peace, the kind he had been trying to build one breath at a time.